Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Geek First Review. I'm the Clown Prince of Monkeys, Snell, and I'm joined by,
I'm Monkey Boy, Kirk Patzer.
yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is. I don't know. I think one originals. We have to do like a naming. It's been 9 years. We have to name all the pairings. We don't have that. Man, what game?
Pairings. What are you talking about?
I don't know why my camera stopped. My camera's been a fucking asshole day. Um, Oh, I can't remember what Mario game it was. If it was tennis or a card, I feel like it was tennis. Like with all the pairings of the four. Like, what is a Dylan Kirkland pairing name? What's a Taylor Taylor and Travis pairing?
You're I don't know what you're talking about for the Mario game though. Like
Oh,
there was
that I
like
don't
teams of
know.
two
Yeah,
or something that had
I
team
swear it was
names.
like a Mario tennis thing or something. Like you'd put them together and they would auto generate, not every time, but it'd
Oh,
be
okay.
like if Bowser and Luigi together, it was this sort of name. Oh, I
I
wish Dylan
see.
was here because he would probably know. Even though I was very surprised, Dylan had never played Sunset Riders. Have you played Sunset Riders?
Never heard of it, no.
God damn it. No one's played this game. I'm going to go look up Sunset Riders. But what you can do first is see Monkey Man or don't see Monkey Man. Who knows? It all depends on this review. Yes, as usual, check out everything you need to know is down below. There's newscasts, there's X-Men reviews, there's side quest. Me and the Gimmick Boys will be reviewing both nights of WrestleMania this week, so that'll be coming out. So lots of good stuff on the feed. Next week is Civil War, so that should be a good one. Knuckles is starting up, so there's a lot of fun stuff. Oh gosh, Fallout. I think is that already next week. Fallout.
I don't know.
Let me take a look. I
I have
think
no
I
idea.
think it is. That's a binge one. We'll figure that out. But yeah, lots of yeah, April 12th. So there's lots of good stuff coming up. For the Planet of the Apes. I think all the Planet of the Ape retrospectives except for the new trilogy is on the main feed right now. So check those out. Those are lots of fun. Mad Max is coming out soon, and very soon I'm going to be re-releasing me and Kyle's X-Men retros because
Oh yeah.
we've never re-released those, and those are some of the best, some of the favorites. So we gotta get that man back at some point. But today is all about the man Dev Patel, director, actor, writer, producer. He's doing it all. But did it work out? So as usual, we're gonna give our non-spoilers thoughts. So if you've not seen the movie, if you're on the fence, hey, I don't know, it's his first time. Maybe you're not a Dev Patel fan, maybe you're not an action fan, whatever it may be. We will give you our thoughts on if you should wait for streaming or maybe go out there and support a movie. Do whatever. But we'll take a break and then spoilers. Mr. Patzer, what did you think of Monkey Man here?
Monkey Man here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I going into it, I was pretty blind. I didn't want to know too much. Like I had seen the one trailer, so I knew it was kick ass action and that was about it. And I absolutely love this movie. I thought it was so fantastic. I thought it was a really interesting way of like revealing the story and the motivation for our character on why he's doing his task. It's not just shown at you like an event at the beginning of the movie. Like it is kind of spliced throughout, and I think that was
Hmm.
really really creative.
We like that type of thing here.
That's what I was gonna say to you as a fellow, you're known for your directing style of playing with time and chronological orders of things. I was gonna ask how you were liking this.
I was very happy our movie came out first because people would have been. I've said this before. I can't wait for our second movie to come out, but I guarantee you, I'm gonna be so annoyed. People are gonna just accuse us of like stealing stuff from Saltburn, and
Yeah.
legitimately, we filmed that movie first. And there is, especially as I'm starting to edit it now, I'm like, fuck. There's things that are like beat for beat the same as Saltburn, but I'm like, we filmed this first, so yeah, it was. I was a fan of the non-linear like telling the story and everything. I think there
See,
was one portion in the middle that went maybe too long, which again is spoilers, and not like super long. I was like, okay, I didn't know if we need like the exact full scene, but it still was working for me. So
what are those cards that are called for like capturing the scenes? Like Act 1, Scene 2, and then they
title
clap
cards.
it. Title cards. That's why
Yeah,
we need those, and you can put the dates so that people can't call us out for. It's
yeah,
like,
that's
oh, this
true.
did come out before Saltburn or
Well, I
whatnot.
think I still, yeah, I guess not in camera, but on the actual footage, it is carbon dated,
There
like
you
when we
go.
shot it. So
We have
I'll have
proof.
a screenshot in the credits. Like, don't, we didn't do this. If anything, Dev Patel took from us, no.
Hey, exactly. But no, I thought that was a really, really interesting and cool way to tell the story and unravel it in I don't know, just like a well-paced manner. That way it kind of keeps the interest on the viewer of like what is going on here and like really like who are these
Mhm.
people and why do they connect. I thought that was really really fun. So like all that was really good. I think Dev Patel is just absolutely fantastic. I really just been liking him more and more in everything that I've seen him in. Green Knight, I feel like that's the most relevant one. Why are you shaking your head?
Don't you dare stand where he stood. You know, I'm still bitter about Golden Geeks. Gonna be bitter this
He
year
was
when
good
this
in
movie
it.
doesn't
He was
make
good
it.
in it.
I think we did nominate him, so I'll give
Yeah.
him that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen. He's the one from Slumdog Millionaire, right?
Yeah, Slumdog
Yeah.
Millionaire. I feel like there's a bunch of stuff he's been in, but I feel like I'm drawing a blank on it
Maybe
right
some
now.
more minor roles or something.
On
But
BBM.
no, but for this to be him starring as well as directing is just what an achievement, man. Like that
Yeah.
like this movie with how many moving parts there are. I'm just so shocked on how people can be in the movie and direct at the same time, and how they can just have all these things in their mind that they're wanting to piece together while they're making the film. It blows my mind anytime that happens, but especially on like an action movie like this where he is doing like all these fight choreography. He's the one that's looking shredded and just kicking ass and getting his ass kicked, and yeah, all of that was really fantastic. I think the fact that he's like the monkey man and like kicking everyone's ass, I do like how for the most part it still feels like a really like I don't know, like personable, if that's even a word, or like grounded type protagonist where he doesn't feel like he is immortal. Like maybe near the end he's really popping off, but I feel like he still feels like just like a human guy, and there's many instances that it seems like maybe he has like one enemy down and out, but maybe he's like a little bit shaky on the trigger because he is still like a human, and he has these like little holdbacks on him on taking a
He's
life.
not like
Like
a hired assassin like a John
exactly,
Wick or something.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I do like how that is a factor in a lot of I don't know how some of the combat goes for him, or just how some of these things happen, because I feel like there's some moments where, you know, if he is a little bit tighter on the trigger early on in the movie, it's like, oh wow, he would have just gotten rid of this person early on. But I do like how it was all tackled in that sense. And yeah, I thought this was just a really fun ride. I think the score and the soundtrack was just like next level. I cannot wait to find this soundtrack out here. They had some classic songs that I feel like
What
they
do you
kind of.
mean? You can't wait to find it out here. What does that mean?
Well,
Out
I haven't looked into it yet. It's probably out there, but I. out
Kirk
here
will make
in
it
this-
sound like he's going to the vinyl stores. Like, oh, you got the Monkey Man soundtrack
Yeah.
yet? No, okay, I'll be back next week.
Can't wait
Thanks,
for those
Tom.
CDs to get shipped over here.
Yeah.
The local Walmart.
What
or
about
whatnot.
cassettes? You got any
Yeah.
cassettes? Oh, damn it. Just
But
got
the-
Spotify, eh? Okay.
They had some like classic songs in here with like tweaked a little bit, or like a really cool mix in certain scenes that I felt like were just uplifting, like all of these scenes that were already really good.
Yeah. No, I echo similar sentiments. I absolutely loved it. For me, it's funny because like it's weird when I say like I don't. It's not that I don't like action movies. It's just like they're not. I don't know. It's a strange thing to say because I do like action movies, but I think I've always liked movies that have action in them. Like I'm not the biggest like Lethal Weapon guy or like any of that genre of the 80s and 90s of just this is just an action movie and it's cool, dude. Unless it was Arnold and even like Bruce Willis, like it's not my stuff. It's like Die Hard, where like I really love that first Die Hard, but I don't go back to it all the time, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna watch it here where I know there's people that's my father-in-law, that's his genre. He's watching like Olympus Has Fallen. Like anytime I'm over, like it's those type of movies where for me it's like I need a good hook, and this to me has it. That's what I love is this. It is the plot wise is a simple revenge movie, but it's the style and the soul that make it stand out. This movie like feels like it's alive all the time, which sounds kind of weird, but just like every frame is moving in a different way. Now this sounds like I'm hyperbolic praising it, and I think I am a bit, but sometimes some frames and some action sequences remind me of Spider-Verse, where it's just there's things going on, but there's so much going on at the same time. And it's so impressive for this only $10 million budget. For me, it looks great. And that's what you were saying about that. There's tons of new directors like Jordan Peele, and I'm drawing a blank on other ones that were, or Krasinski, right? And that's actually a bad example because he's the same. But the Krasinski versus Peele thing, there's tons of people that have been in Hollywood for a while and they become a director, and it's great. And they have like a great first film and everything. And it's outstanding. I'm not taking the work away from them. But with like Patel, even Krasinski, we're seeing like the second movie, and if he's not in there, we've been there a few times where we don't have a crew when we directed our scenes, and that's tough enough where it's like you're focused on directing, blocking all this stuff, and then also acting. And this guy's he's in I could probably say 95% of this movie.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there's some scenes without him, but it's all him. It's not like an ensemble. It's not like, oh, it's him and then following another main bad guy as like a two-hander. No, it's him. So it's just like you said, kudos to him for he's directing, but then also he's in this so much. So especially too, it's like with it being a smaller crew and budget, it's not like he's walking onto like a Marvel film where I guarantee you everything's being taken care of, right? This, that, like he probably
Mm-hmm.
had to do so much, run so much. I'm really off centered right now. I don't know why. There must be an
Me
earthquake.
too. That suggests.
Yeah, you go to the right or the left, but no, I thought this was, to me, with that heart and soul, had so much more what I want for a revenge film. Now, there's stuff like John Wick where I like that and that is more actiony, but that's because the action is so top tier and just so crazy. That's where I go, okay, this is where I like that. Or Fast and Furious, where it's like, this is so dumb. That's why I like this, right? Or some of the characters. This is definitely trying to be John Wick at times, and it doesn't meet that exact style as far as how crisp it is, but what it lacks for in those, and when I'm saying lacks for, it doesn't mean it's lacking. It's like, hey, you're not as good as a basketball player as LeBron James. It's like that type of thing, right? Where it's, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying like, oh, it's so low tier. It's just like, okay, definitely the action there is crisper, but where this one I think makes up is just, I feel like you feel a lot of Dev Patel in here, whether there's political stuff going on here, where there's certain choices of characters that are in here. There's a moment in the middle where if there's like something you'd never seen a John Wick or many others where it's like super trippy dream sequency, like how he transitioned to a flashback. That's not stuff you do in action movie. That's like an A24 thing, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I appreciate where most action movies don't do that. And I feel like what you're talking about with Dev being human, it happens at times, but so many times it's like John Wick, Chev Chelios, aren't like they have to be the badass all powerful stopping. Like you can't have a moment to have these characters weak, and I mean not in the weak of the sense of, oh, he got shot. Like Dev Patel multiple times in this movie has panic attacks. He doesn't know if he can really go through with these things. He's having visions to why like his origin are, and that's what I think I lean towards more as far as, like I said, if it is pure action, it has to be like a John Wick where it's like, okay, this is top tier. That's why I absolutely love this. And honestly, I think Keanu also helps with that too, because he has like a certain vibe where it's like, okay, just having a good time with Keanu. But like I said, where it's not the all-time massive epic action, which I think there's parts of it that have that, it counteracts with the character and the emotion that it brings. And yeah, I have like minor cons, but it's one of those of like, I don't know what, I've been going back and forth with my final score because it's like the highs are so high that the cons, I definitely have some cons as far as like there's a few characters that I don't think need to be in this. There's a few
Mm-hmm.
choices where I go, I don't really understand why we did this. Like I said, there's a portion in the middle where I really like the transition, but I thought we were maybe there for a little too long. But there's nothing massive, there's nothing major. And with this being Dev Patel's first movie, it's like, man, obviously he's been around. And I looked actually, like he was in Skins and like Slumdog Millionaire was his big breakout, but he's only starred in 26 things or been in 26 movies, which is crazy. He started acting in, let's see, yeah, 2008, and I just felt like he was in a lot more, but that's why we can't name much, because like he's only been in 26 things and projects.
Yeah.
So this is very exciting for me to see what he's going to do next. I just think it's kind of like a statement film of, okay, this is a guy you have to watch. And I feel like now it's like whatever genre he makes, it's going to be really interesting. Oh man, Monkey Man's out to get me. It's going to be really interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah, this was top marks all around. This is like
Yeah.
definitely behind Dune is my second favorite film of the year. Now there's not been many, but still it's it was fantastic. It's just not your regular just action revenge thriller. It uses that, but then it evolves on that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, absolutely. I like you're saying, like I do have some minor cons that we'll get into and spoiler stuff, but they're just so I think irrelevant compared to like how high some of those highs
Yeah.
are. Like I just kind of forget about them sometimes. So one thing I will say that I did notice in here, and I didn't know what the budget was. It makes sense that it is such a low budget for the fact that they do have a lot of shaky cam in this movie. Like a lot of
Mhm.
shaky cam. I feel like most of the action is shaky cam where you can't really discern all of like, the tight choreography that's going on or like specific hand-to-hand combat things. And that's definitely something that obviously John Wick just excels at, is like the clean, crisp choreography. There is really good fight choreography in here, but I understand that they kind of either made a creative choice to use that, or maybe it's like a way to kind of hide some of that action and chaos going on. Um, I can't see what's going on. Oh, there you go.
I have no idea.
I
It's
just
just
heard noises, and
frozen.
then you're just frozen.
Yeah, it's just
Um,
frozen at that fucking meme.
but yeah, like I like a lot of shaky cam can annoy me quite a bit, but for some reason this one really didn't ever get to me. Like I made note of it that there was a lot of shaky cam going on, but
Hmm.
I think because either the combination of just like the awesome soundtrack going on or the action that you can see, like it does look really good. And I think your comparison of multiverse, or not multiverse, Spider Verse, isn't too far off in the sense of like it is a lot of chaos going on in these scenes and a lot of
Yeah,
moving parts and a lot of people scrapping and whatnot. And I think for that reason, the shaky cam, it also kind of makes sense. Like it is as if there's just monkeys raiding a village or something, and it's just
hmm,
like chaos. So, yeah, but like I definitely wanted to make note of that because I don't know, like Dylan, I don't know how he would feel about this movie. I feel there's aspects that he would absolutely love, but he is a notorious hater of shaky cam, and this movie has a lot of it. So I am curious. If it comes down to, I'm sure I would nominate this for Golden Geeks if he hasn't seen it by that point. But I know he
yeah.
does show some interest there. But I'm curious to hear his thoughts because of just I think the relevance of shaky cam in this movie.
I know he never told us about anything that shaky cam with our movie, so I wasn't sure if it was a good use or
Yeah,
he just was being nice to be like, I can't say anything. But I definitely agree with you. There is, I guess, for me, because I'm 50-50 on shaky cam. Like I feel like I used to really hate it, and I guess it just depends. And I think because this felt more personal and it was smaller, I guess I didn't have much of an issue with it really. It kind of fit the world, but there is a lot of it, so I'd have to see almost on a second watch, but it didn't bug me. My thing that I was pissed about was I was at the Cineplex and the speakers just sucked, and I just felt like it was
that sucks.
really quiet at times. So I'm excited to see either it again or even at home because it felt like the speakers even there are like my home speakers are better. Now I'm sure they're not, but just like the way this was tuned, the movie was like, but yeah, I could see that because I've heard that from other people. I guess for me, it just didn't bug me as much just because it's kind of the world setting. It felt smaller, but I
Yeah,
definitely can see somebody having those issues. So
totally.
anything else before we get into spoilers here?
Let's hop on in.
All right. So if you've not seen the movie, well, obviously we both recommend it. So go see it, go check it out, go support it. It's only $10 million budget. We want to get more stuff like this. So yeah, definitely go out there if you're picking. Go spend a couple shillings on it. So take our first ad break. We'll be right back. And we're back. I wanted to mention. I was gonna mention non-spoilers. Thought might be too much, but I thought the best comparison. Now it does happen the next scene, and like you said, there's multiple scenes with the music. But the first time in the finale, when he shows back up to the whatever the restaurant, he goes in that room, and he has that big first fight scene with everybody. That's where I loved like the score was playing, but it's not like a high octane action. It's like a very calm, and it feels like he's like zen in this moment. He's
Yeah,
kicking ass, and that's where I was like, okay, this is why I like this more than a lot of other action movies because the majority of these are gonna have like, like it's gonna have something really cool, and it works, right? Like that's what you do. But I love that it was this very calm and peaceful score while he is shoving bottles into people's throats and he's like like all this stuff, and that's what I like where it's like, okay, this feels very different. It feels again like there's a distinct vision you can see from Dev, like from like, okay, this is my mind, want to get it there, and you do get that. You get bits where there is like action heavy score, but I loved that. And I don't know why he wore the mask to get there because he had
I
it and
know
then he
that
just took
that
it off. So
I really was assuming he was gonna be wearing it for like the entire ending fight scene.
mhm.
I guess it was nice you can see Dev Patel,
Yeah.
act in those moments. But yeah, he just shows up to the restaurant or wherever the hell they are, and then pops the mask off, throws it in the gutter. I'm like, that's it. That's all we get with the mask.
Yeah.
And like, it seemed like he was doing some sort of ritualistic like cleaning of it too. Before that moment, he's like dunking it in the water. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. It's like his Batman mask. But
Well, and it's funny because like I thought, oh, even then they're gonna use it to he's gonna sneak in, but he really
yeah,
didn't. He just he just like walked through the street because this was what was so funny where he puts on the monkey mask, like you said, he washes it and everything, and then I thought, oh, he's gonna have sneak, and he goes through the streets, and then he goes right up to the door. There's two guards there. He just takes the mask off, kicks the shit out of them. So I was like, oh, I guess he didn't need to sneak in. I had the same thought earlier in the movie where I don't know what barometer, I would. But I just feel like if somebody, clearly the guy that killed his mother is a bad guy, right? So I'm sure he's killed a lot of people's mothers. Doesn't remember faces, but Dev Patel's character, which what was his character's
It was just
name?
Kid. I
It
looked
was
it up.
was it
I
just
thought
Kid?
I thought he had a name, but apparently it's
I
just
thought he
Kid.
did too. But anyway,
Yeah.
so Kid or Monkey Man. I'm gonna call him Monkey Man. I'm not
Yeah.
calling him Kid. So I don't know because I'm not a bad person, but I would just assume if someone had tried to kill me a couple days ago, I would probably distinctly remember them. Now it's still a large crowd, but the same thing with the Monkey Mask. I had that same thought when the kind of bad rule or whatever. I'm not sure what do they call what would be their name in that country. I don't know if they're a president or
Yeah, I don't know what the hierarchy of that
yeah,
character was,
right.
but it was like Baba Shakti.
Yeah.
That was his name. Yeah.
So let's just say it's that country's equivalent of what, like a present prime minister is, and he's giving this big speech, and that bad cop there that killed Patel's mom or bad sergeants, a couple feet from him, and they're speaking to this big crowd. It is a big crowd, but Dev Patel is only like in the third row, and everybody else is kind of listening. Dev Patel's just staring there like, oh, he's gonna murder him. So that's another thing where it's like, okay, I guess people just don't recognize him at all, and it was fine. Again, that's actually not a con. I just got a kind of a laugh where they did the mask, and I'm not sure if it was like, oh, this will look great in the trailer, because I feel like we only watched the one trailer and talked about it, so I don't know. So that was funny. But I personally, we've talked about this a couple times. I can't remember when I talked about this. Just on Trash told you, I'm happy the mask was off because like you can have some mask action, but I'd rather have Dev Patel, which I also
Yeah.
forgot to mention. Like you said, I feel like I've not given Dev Patel enough credit, and he's done a lot of other great things. But between this and Green Knight, like he's on my list of like the top tier actors right now. And I wouldn't have said no before, but I think now like he directly is coming into my mind of like, oh, he is like best of the best right now. He belongs in those categories when we talk about Adam Driver or things like that, right? So
Yeah. And on the topic of the mask, I like the usage of it in the boxing ring. I like
Yeah.
it did get seen. It's not like it was completely irrelevant in this movie. So the fact that it was there, I feel like it helps at the end that we do just have Dev Patel. And again, to defend it, like maybe it's because he is like a wanted terrorist and there's like people looking for him on the street, so he wears this mask. I don't know how much more incognito that is. I feel like that's also more questionable. The Monkey Man mask just walking down the street, but
well, at least
who
the
knows?
ending, there was like a party where other people, or there was like a celebration where other people were wearing masks, right?
Yeah,
So I don't
like a
know
masquerade
the
party.
other days. Well, because actually, I think he might be in the clear though, right? Because he tries to kill the sergeant. I guess he does go to that rally, so that was kind of a, like I said, kind of a mistake. But then he just spends his days at that house for the people that are of different
The outcast people.
yeah, the outcast people. And then he's there for a while, and then he makes the big plan. So I guess he's not on the streets probably too much. Luckily,
Yeah.
he's hanging out. So
Yeah, for sure. Where do you want to go?
the beginning, I don't know. No. Yeah, what did you think of the? Because you talked about the setup. So I think we kind of figured this from the trailer, but the setup is his mother and a bunch of other people, but clearly for him, his mother's been killed. We get that a little bit. Again, that's something that for me, I don't know if I needed the whole scene. That's something I need to think about on a rewatch because I thought they'd given us enough to understand. And I'm not saying the scene was like hard to watch. I just thought that I don't know if we need the whole scene of his mom getting killed, everything like that, because I felt like the flashbacks were pretty clear, but that's okay. They still did it. But yeah, she gets killed and he's on pretty much a whole life mission to eventually get back to this guy. And then what do we get? Because he does things like he steals someone's purse and then he works his way up. There's a few convenient things and everything, but what do you think about his story and motivations? Obviously, motivation is the usual, out for revenge. So that's classic tale.
Yeah, as we were already saying earlier, I love the way that it was kind of spliced throughout. He would see something, and then it would just be like flames, and then go back to like the real world. I'm like, what is going on there? Like, like obviously there's some trauma here, but how come when he looks at this individual or sees this trigger that, or sorry, this thing that triggers a former memory? So I did like how that was done, and I did really like seeing actually the whole vision later on when
Yeah.
he takes the narcotic drug thing, whatever it is. Because I don't know, it's just putting it right there, like, and it is very graphic and intense, like the scene, because it's not just a quick kill. Like he slaps the shit out of her with the belt, and then lights her on fire. Like
Yeah.
it is really just raw and terrible. So I think seeing that, especially the zoom in shots of him as a kid, like looking through the floorboards, like it definitely is just I don't know, it leaves a scar there, and I thought I thought it was well done. So all the lead up to like the full length scene of that flashback I did like, and for his whole motivation, this is like something I was a little bit confused on in the beginning, because it almost seemed like he was like this underground like king or something, where like all these people are kind of working for him. At least that's how I got it when he was getting the purse, at least,
Oh
because it's like
right, yeah.
because this one person gets it and then they like pass it along to like
Trail of like
30
a
other
dozen
people,
people,
and then they
yeah.
like give it to the one guy. I'm like, oh wow, like the monkey man, he's like this underground like
Hmm.
badass criminal or something. But it just seemed like maybe he just paid the right people, or knew how to
Yeah.
get his hands on that, because from that point on he is just like a solo guy. So I was a little bit confused on how all that was working, but like that's a really minor con. It's mostly nitpicking, because I don't really need those answers on why, like who did he pay to get that
Yeah.
handbag to him. Like I don't really need that in the large scale of what this movie is. And I just liked all the little plays that he was doing. I did like how at the start of the movie, it's not like him explaining to us about how he's trying to get revenge. Like his mission has already been going on, obviously, since he survived that horrific incident. So, yeah, I liked how we just kind of jumped in the middle of his revenge tale, and we get to see the end of it. So, yeah, it was really really well done. And just seeing again, like doubling down on what I was saying earlier, he isn't this like super assassin guy. Like he does make mistakes. He's really smart, and
Yeah.
obviously he's been planning this out for a long time. Um, but like still, he kind of slips up here and there. Whether it's not being able to take out the cop like right away. Like he has him dead to rights, in like locked in the bathroom, gun right up to his face, and he's still just like shaky and can't quite do it. This one person that should be like the most easy kill of your life, because like they just took everything from you, murdered your mom right in front of you. Like it's still that just like humanism to him. Like he still is hesitant in that moment. I liked how all that was done. So yeah, I big fan of revenge tales, and I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah, and I'd have to watch too, because now I feel like I might be missing a major point of it, because that's a great example of, yeah, he has this whole thing, which I actually thought he was going to just kill him right there, because he steals a wallet, gets to a work. I don't know. She runs a multitude of businesses, right? And they all, some are legit, some are shady,
Queenie,
whatever.
that
Yeah,
lady.
Queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then he meets Alfonso, who he is part of like a brothel-esque type of club sort of deal. Like there's things, lots of drugs going on. I thought he had taken him out because they have these little cylinders that they're handing around for cocaine. I thought that was it, because I wasn't like, don't call me dumb, I guess. I thought if you snored bleach, it would be over for you. So I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought, I was like, oh, what a clever way. And it still was fun with the scene, because he gets this guy, the Rana, the cop. The Rana is his name, at least that's what I think is how you
Rana
pronounce it.
Singh, I think is
Yeah.
his full
So
name.
so if you like, so he gets him the cylinder because he becomes a waiter. He just slowly works his way up. So he becomes a waiter at this kind of, brothel club, drug club, whatever it may be, all for criminals or crooked characters. And he replaces the cocaine with bleach. He snores it. His nose starts bleeding. He goes in the washroom. And yeah, like you said, any other movie, not any other, but majority of these type of movies, that's like an easy kill part, right? Where it's like, okay, you can do that. Something else comes up. He's pretty nervous the whole time. There is someone else in the bathroom, which we had a good but terrible scene of just little details of the gun ends up in the toilet, and it is a toilet that has seen some
Oh
bad
yeah.
stuff going on.
Oppenheimer dropped the fucking bomb in that
Yeah,
toilet.
not good. But he reaches in there and goes for it. But the thing I'm missing, and that's, I don't know if you can recall, because I saw this 2 days ago now, so I don't remember as much. So I'll look
Mm.
up, because I'll definitely do the rewatch. Does he kill anybody after that, or does he not kill people until the finale? Because I know he escapes, but that's why I was wondering.
I think he kills people in that scene, no? Because that other guy in the bathroom he's like attacking
Yeah.
Dev in those moments, and I'm pretty sure when Rana and him are fighting for the gun, the other guy's like running at him, and then he points and shoots at that guy. So
Okay.
I'm assuming he died from his injuries, maybe not, but I definitely think he took some people out. Like the body count was definitely racking up by the end of this movie for sure. He wasn't the only one murdering people, but
No.
he definitely killed a lot.
So that might hurt a little bit for me of him not being to pull the trigger as quick on the Rana guy because you just feel like, hey, that's the guy that killed your mom, and if you can kill these other people that you don't know pretty
Yeah,
effortlessly, I get that it
I
was all rushing back, so I think I'll have to on a rewatch, but it didn't bug me in the moment or anything. So
and yeah, for that it works for me because this is like the build up. This has like been the one thing that he's been like
yeah,
working towards his whole life, and he's finally here. He's obviously caught with so much emotion, and he's just like right there. Whereas before, like the in the after effect when he shoots that other guy, like so much adrenaline is going on. Like he's literally fighting for his life
that's
here. This
true.
guy is beating down on him. He's beating on the other guy, and then just trying to get to this gun because you're in the fight of your life, literally in that moment. So for that, it worked a lot more for me. But I see where you're coming from.
I was surprised he fled the scene too, especially where we get with our character, which again, very I had another like adrenochromism where like this guy, last frame of the movie is him passing out and dying. I felt like he was on a suicide mission, so I know there was other guys coming, but I thought he was going to stay there and kill Rana no matter what, but he still booked it, so I guess he had to fight another day. What I have to ask you is it's funny because we like when we did the John Wick Red show, I feel like you and Taylor are on a different side of this for me and Dylan, where me and Dylan at times didn't like how like big it was getting. With this, I feel like they did what John Wick did, and I don't know, it was not necessarily a con for me, but I thought, especially for the first half of the movie, it feels like his mission is to take out Rana, and that's it, right? The guy that killed his mom and other people in the village. But then I feel like once we get that, and there's some other chasing, we get introduced to he has to take out the bigger political figure. And I was not expecting that in this movie, even like one from the trailer, but two just from the way the movie was going in the first act. I didn't think it was going to go, oh, well, this goes all the way up. And this guy kind of gave
Yeah.
some direction. So, not that that was a con because it gave him lots of bad guys to go through near the end and lots of stakes, but I didn't think we were going to get that side. But at the same time, where I'll counter myself and say it's a pro is he's like riddling lots of different political views in there. It's not just a like it's to me it's definitely a movie that you could watch it, and for some people that have really tough time with politics, I'm like, oh, I can't watch this movie because it leans one way too much, but that's what I do appreciate because he's the director and he's making a choice with it, so and you can like that or not, right? So that's where at first I was like, I don't know if I'm enjoying, do we need the big, oh, you got to take down the system, right? I just want this to be maybe a simple tale. But as we went throughout the movie, more political things and political characters that were being affected were being sprinkled throughout. I ended up enjoying it more, and it kind of was more seamless than I worried when we got introduced to big government bad guy, which can go bad lots of times because then it just gets maybe unbelievable, and I don't
Yeah.
need Dev Patel taking on the whole country of cops and assassins at this point, right? Because
Have you seen?
he's not
Oh,
John
sorry.
Wick, he's a regular guy like you said, so there's a level to it. So
Have you seen Beekeeper yet?
I have, yes. That is the perfect example of way too much. I don't give a shit. He ends up going to the fucking White House and like maybe killing like that. There you go. That's the perfect example, and that's where I feel like they did not make anything politically. It was just okay. Well, here's a bad guy. Here's a governor. Here's a prime minister. Here's a president. Like it just felt like every bad guy was, oh, it's a bigger figure. So yeah, Beekeeper, good example of, to me, what I started to worry about when I saw. Because we see the political figure in a lot of ads at first, right? And I
Yeah.
just thought, oh, it's just like, it's just kind of like a fun character, some stylized stuff. But then when he got introduced, I forgot about Beekeeper, but there you go. It was definitely the Beekeeper-ism. So good shout out there.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting us to go there. I think it made enough sense though. Just for the fact of like he was the one pulling the strings and really like he was the one that made the call, right, to burn down the village. So
Yeah.
although the Rana guy was like the direct killer of his mother, like it really was through the decisions of the other characters. So for me, like it was just an escalation that kind of made sense, and it was kind of nice, the whole setup of the location that we were at, like, or at least where they were at. I don't know if it's a hotel. It seems like every floor is something different, whether it's like a restaurant and then almost like a casino type thing that there's a
Yeah.
brothel and then like just various other levels. It was a fun setting to have those moments.
It was. What bugged me was I did not understand. So it all goes to shit, right? It's great. He shows up at the end. He's killing the guys. Like I said, that great score scene where it's a quiet score. You have this. I forgot to get the character's name here. Excuse me. The lady who was that's his mom. Who's like the semi love interest. Sita, yeah, Sita was her name.
Oh,
Okay, I
the
think.
one that was working there.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
that I liked. I liked that didn't go full love interest. It was like
yeah, I
it
agree.
was like that. What I like is like in another life, in another situation, you two could be together. But clearly, like that, if you would have gone further with that, to me, that would have been a down point in the movie because I thought they did just enough that there's a little bit of attraction. They both know they're going through shit. There's somewhat of a bond there, but there's not too much, and they both save each other. That's what I like. But anyway, so you have her pop off that. You have the outcast people, really cool, who just again, it's like, what's the security of this place? I don't know, but I was just this stuff's cool with their costumes and outfits during the fight. That's
Mm-hmm.
popping off. So it is like it's not just Dev Patel. There is Dev Patel and a mini army in this hotel building, whatever. That's what I did not buy the political leader kind of just sitting around and waiting. It was weird where he goes to a certain floor and Rana's there, just standing there waiting, like just hanging out in the mirror room. And then he goes to the next floor and the political figure's just standing there waiting. Like, it felt a bit too video gamey in that aspect of like the NPC boss has to wait for you to like step in the
Yeah.
circle and prompt the fight. So that's one thing that it was very cool, but I didn't understand why they're hanging around in this building because I guess they just thought maybe the guy couldn't get there with her finger because he had to chop the finger off. But still, I just feel like there's a mass murder going on in this building. It's time to get you the fuck out. Like that's a political hit.
Yeah.
Like in any world, you'd be out of there. So there was a few things like that where in my mind I was going, oh, why is that happening? You know? But
Yeah, that stuff kind of makes it lean into almost like a John Wick type
yes,
thing, where like it is a boss waiting for you in that level, and it's awesome because like the action is sweet, but we don't really worry about explaining the realistic way that would actually happen, and like that one didn't bother me at all. There was some other things that I think just some of the specifics didn't make sense for me, but I don't know. I love the movie enough to kind of turn a blind eye to
oh,
some of those things. Like
absolutely,
I don't need answers on how how he got out of that burning house. Wait, as a kid,
yeah.
I thought he was trapped in the attic on a burning building. Like I'm pretty sure that would have been a death sentence, but that doesn't really need an like if that bothers you, obviously you have other issues with the movie. So
Mhm.
I didn't mind that at all, but I did notice there was some things where I felt like we were jumping maybe from place to place without too much like strong reasoning on how that makes sense. But I just kind of I don't know, I kind of just was thinking about those other films that are like that, like a John Wick
Mhm.
or something where it's a higher than life at moments type movie. I think this one is a lot more grounded than what John Wick is,
Absolutely,
but
yeah.
it definitely is still in that realm. And hey, it's not a bad thing. I absolutely love those John Wick
Yeah.
movies. This like John Wick. While I'm watching, I'm like, man, this is something you turn on if you just want to get like fucking pumped and like I don't know if you're like working out or whatnot, like just something to
This
have
one's a
on
bit
the
more
background.
sad though. You want to
But
watch
the
the mum
action
death
scenes
scene?
are
Yeah.
so good. But
Oh
yeah, fair
yeah,
enough. You fast
absolutely.
forward through those moments.
Yeah.
You need like a YouTube supercut of all the
Once he
action.
starts cutting his heart open, you're like, okay, I gotta move on. This is the
The
sad
trippy,
part.
yeah. You don't do
Yeah.
heavy lifting when the trippy dream sequence.
You're just standing there like, what's am I high? The one thing I missed, I loved like the final confrontation. I thought that was good. I liked the conversation. I love they have this outward shot of the building and it's lit where it's just their shadows, and then they have the big painting of all the stories of multiple
Oh
things of
yeah.
their culture stuff. That was really, really cool. I thought for sure, and it could be a budgetary thing, but even then, don't show it. I thought for sure Dev Patel was gonna put on one of those fucking shoes and stomp the shit out of him because he talks about this whole story about,
Mm,
it's you have these shoes and the markings are for because when you're walking you could be like pretty much you could be constantly killing things, right? Like bugs, little things like
mhm.
that. So it's like this whole symbolism. So I thought for sure Dev Patel was gonna put one of those on and stomp the shit out of him. I thought that was a missed opportunity because the villain
Yeah.
set it up, but still cool that the sandal had like this mini sword in it and he just fucking just stabbed him a bunch. And I don't know, the guy would stab 5 times and then started to be like, oh, we can make a deal. I think at that point, dude, I think it's
Yeah.
too late.
I was
think,
laughing so hard at that moment. I like at the same time though, I did like it because it
oh
shows
yeah, no,
just
I
how
liked it. Yeah.
pathetic he is. Like all this time he's shown as this like almost almost like a deity, right?
Yeah.
Like a being that's better than everyone else and like such a higher being than just the commoners. So I did like in that moment, like he is just so pathetic, like begging for his life
We can find a
and
way.
yeah, and then just fucking right in the forehead with these like needles. Oh my god, I just there's some grotesque moments for me where I feel like it's certain stabs or slashes with like blades that just like I don't know, they just get me a lot more than some other violence does. And
Yeah.
there
Oh
was quite
yeah.
a
The
few, like
last
when you
one
had
to the
that.
head.
Oh,
Ooh.
I know. And when he had that guy in the elevator and he's just like putting the knife deeper and deeper into his throat and then uses his teeth to just like twist it, I was like, oh my gosh. But it was good
That
stuff.
that that got the biggest reaction at my theater.
Yeah.
What was the stab and then the teeth? Because I think anything with teeth and biting is like it gives you like, oh, and that was great. I don't know the laws of physics of that because I feel like you would not be strong enough to do that with your teeth. But I take it that his adrenaline is so high right
He's been
now.
working out his jaw a lot. He's got
Yeah.
strong jaw muscle.
We missed the scene in the Outcast people where they're just like beating the shit out of it, like they're punching him in his jaw and everything like that. So, but yeah, no, I liked all. I thought all the villains worked. You know, I wanted them to get killed. I thought the actors did a good job. So I was a fan of them all. So let's take our next ad break and we'll keep talking about Monkey Man. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Where do you want to go next, sir?
Where do I want to go next? You're kind of talking about the outcast people. That was something that it seemed like it was kind of a background conflict between
Mhm.
like I think there was a couple news, I don't know, things that we could hear in the
There
background
was like
somewhere where
them
it was
being
like police beating like transgender
abuse,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
burning places down, etc., stuff like that. So it was like on the background. So
Like I like how that was like the breadcrumbs were kind of shown early on, and
yeah.
then later on we meet some of these individuals and just kind of hear their stories and like how they're able to kind of house the like Dev here in these
Mhm.
moments. I like how his name's like Kid. I'm just using his real name. I'm going full Taylor Field here, but yeah, no, I liked how that was kind of like our allies in the film, right? Like as someone that's rooting for the kid, the monkey man here, Dev Patel. I like that was the sanctuary, and we kind of hear their just from their point of view and how they're kind of being outcast and put in this position that they kind of have to hide in some fucked up way. But
Oh yeah.
just them rallying together and kind of being like his just I don't know like he like his boot camp, I guess. He like this is where he just comes to really refine his skills and just get the tools to really go kick ass. It totally worked for me. Like I loved how he definitely has the tools to kick ass before this point, but he just comes here and just like beats up the heavy bag, takes some like trippy drug psychedelic thing,
Yes.
and then now he's like the true monkey man, that he's at like his full potential. And that just worked for me. I don't know. I like when our characters go somewhere and just like train and then come back just like
Mhm.
refined. It's probably like an anime thing that's just ingrained with me. Definitely Dragon Ball Z has done that many times in the past, so that's probably the roots of my enjoyment for that stuff. But here it was done really well, and I did like their kind of explanation too on how what was it? It was Shiva and like another version of Shiva, but it was like the two sides of them. One's chaos, one's something nice. I'm butchering this. I totally forgot
One
what it
something nice.
what it
Yeah.
represented, but just their explanation of what it was in the film. I don't know. It was really really well said and articulate as opposed to what I'm trying to do here. So I
Mhm.
apologize. I'm butchering this, but all of that stuff was 100% working for me.
Well, I think it did two things too. Like you said, it's the classic training sequence, but it's also a twofer as far as it shows him like not this doesn't become like a grand scale movie, but it shows him that he's fighting for more than just him. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it becomes a very personal mission at first. Like it starts as a personal mission, but it becomes bigger than that because he sees it's almost like, oh, I'm doing this because you guys killed my parents, but or killed my mom at least. But then as he meets other characters, it's like, oh, I'm doing this because of this and this and this. It's not just about him, even though it's still great motivation, right? Of like, hey, you killed my mom, I'm gonna kill you. Classic movie story, good. You don't need anything more. But it's almost like that propels him to be almost in that kind of god tier at the end, and he doesn't even get to that point. He takes lots of damage and he presumably dies at the end. So that's where it's like I'm kind of fine with all the violence he takes because the guy collapses and he's not looking good. And I who knows, maybe there could be a sequel and whatnot, but like I'm fine if this is one off. And I almost prefer it that way because it makes the character even more human of, yeah, he did go through all this damage, but he did that because he's not going to make it out, like he's going to die here, I like that for the body and the violence. I like that for the lady too, same thing of like maybe in another life. But I think it's, yeah, retrains his body, it heals, but he realizes that it's not just me that's been screwed over by these people. Of course, he sees the country, but really he's seeing it firsthand. Like while they're there, he's hearing about how, they see that character that someone put some sort of note on their door and they just go to take it down and they beat the shit out of her, right? And that's thing
Mm-hmm.
where it's not, I feel like at the first it's very much just about what does kid want, but now it's like, okay, what can kid do and what can it kind of become? And even that monkey
Yeah.
man, and that's the only way where I could see a sequel is the legend of the monkey man. I think could grow and you could have that sort of, not saying it's superhero, but that idea of like almost what you said at the beginning of this movie. That's what you could do in a sequel of like he's growing just because the legend of that, right? As far as he's doing all these good deeds, like this
Yeah.
urban myth of this guy, or even you could have other people just bring up the monkey. I'm not saying do another monkey man without Dev. You have to do it without Dev. I'm just saying like that they were starting to build up that monkey man this. And the other thing I like, it's like to be brutally honest, it's like in these action movies to have a whole section where his supporting characters are a multitude of trans characters. Tons of movies would not do that because they're like, oh, this is going to turn off an audience. And definitely some people will, and I don't really care, but I thought that was bold as far as that's another big political thing to put in there. So that's what sets it apart. It's not like, oh, it's just a random group of kids or other people that are poor being beat on. It's like these are people that, one, very current issues, but two, it's not something there's, I don't know. We talk about this all the time. We're big fans of Hunter Schafer, and we're happy she's in these movies. But it's like, is she ever gonna get cast in like a DC, a Marvel, Star Wars,
Right.
right? And that's why for me, it's like to support these movies because this is where these people can do it. Where it's like they don't got to give a shit about, oh, is this gonna play in this country? Is this gonna make this
Mm-hmm.
executive happy? It's just he can go and do this, and it works too. It's not just like what people always try to not lots of people, there's specific, red eye thumbnail people, but just people like, oh, it's like forced wokeness, this and that. It's like it fits the story because it's a marginalized group that's being attacked by a big government, that something that he was previously, right, as a child, right? Like he had been through those things. So I thought it all worked together, and then they just make him super badass. Like I was not expecting that turn. I thought
Yeah. Me
I
neither.
thought the ending was he steals their money, he doubles down on himself. Great fucking sequence, which we'll get into the whole monkey man fighting thing. But then he, I don't know, quadruples, at least triples their money and leaves them there. I thought that was it. But oh, that's a fun little story. It's like that's the monkey man legend building, right? Where
Yeah.
he saved these people. But what do they do? And that's kind of the thing where to me it's monkey man's lesson too, of like, don't just make it about yourself, because when you help those people out, now they're gonna come help you out. And they just show up at the end with these fucking costumes and these swords looking like they're from the Mummy too, like getting ready to take on the Magi or whatever. It was like, damn, and that was all like cool. It was stuff that I should have in most movies be like, this might be type of cheesy. Like this didn't really set up to be like these guys are like these guys, gals, whoever they are, like they're these massive warriors. But I just bought into it in this moment that they could just come and fuck everybody up. So I liked everything about that. And yeah, we talked about it a bit, but that sequence, that's when I was like, okay, for me, it really stepped out of. They show multiple images of the monkey like holding his chest open, his heart. So then there's just a scene in here to get the flashback. Literally, you're going into the heart of the monkey man. He cuts open his chest, open his heart. You go into his chest, and that shows the vision of his mom. So it's like showing like, it's on the nose, but still, I like it as like his mom is still in his heart. But
Mm-hmm.
that's where it's like, oh, this is stuff you don't see in regular action revenge films. It's always just
Totally.
you may get a flashback, but I love this like neon A24 like taking a different route of, okay, that's gonna stand out. I was not expecting this. None of the trailers showed me like, oh, we're gonna get a trippy dream sequence where you go into Dev Patel's heart. So pretty much I have no complaints. The score, the training sequences there, like I enjoyed that whole sequence. Like I said, there's times of it could have maybe been shortened, but I'm not even going to commit to that because I want to rewatch it because there's other themes and stuff that maybe I haven't picked up upon. But yeah, I thought that all worked out, which I was worried when we got there. If like, do I need Dev Patel to be here for 20 minutes with these side characters? That might not matter, which they didn't mattering. So good job to him. But yeah, I enjoyed that all. So
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I don't have to echo everything that you said. I agree there. Just mentioning more on like his mother and all those flashback sequences. I liked how all those scenes were done too. Like it really just showed how close those two were. I like her telling him the story of the monkey man, and just all of her lessons, I guess, that she had told him in those flashback sequences. I just really enjoyed all those moments, and then it made like the graphic, burning of his village just that much harsher because like it is just such a happy moment up until that point.
Yes.
They're seeing like the puppet show, and he's just like totally laughing and having a good time. Everyone is there, and then you hear like the soldiers or police, whatever they are, get closer and closer and start shooting off guns, and it's just yeah, it's terrifying. So I thought all of that stuff was just really really well made.
And little stuff like I don't know, we haven't talked about this before, but like his hands being scarred, and they reveal why that later. Terrible way, he's just trying to save his mom, right? Like I thought,
Mm-hmm.
oh, is they're gonna burn his hands? Something? No, like that's an awful way to go. Well, one for the mom, but two, but and again, because I don't want to forget this, I don't have my notes, but I love that he kills that guy, he looks upon that painting, and then the last images of the movie before he collapses is him thinking back to him being a child and just those moments he had with his mom. I love that shot. They go to it multiple times, but that shot of the tree roots, like just showing like his roots at home, pretty
Mm-hmm.
much. Of like they pan up and it's him and the mom running around, like good stuff with all that. I
Totally.
enjoy that type of, and that's another thing too. At times, also not just because Dev was in it, it reminded me a lot of Green Knight, where Green Knight would take sections to like just be slow and just show you visions or show you moments of other things happening. So that could be something that maybe he was in, obviously in that movie, and just went, hey, I liked that stuff, I'm gonna do it too, because there's, I think, Green Knight isms in here, not just because of Dev, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. Monkey Man, we want to talk about specifically him in the boxing scenes. We got
Yeah.
Charlotte Copley. I think Charlotte Copley. Always mess up his name. I'm going with Charlotte. I messed it up again. There you go. We knew he was in here. I kind of forgot, but he's like the ring announcer. But
Right.
clearly, literally, what they're doing is just a harder version of like WWE professional wrestling, where it's a fight. They are hitting each other and beating each other up, but it's like scripted of who's going to win, who's going to go there. He even knows the point that, oh, Monkey Man's going to win. Like he's helping someone bet, and Monkey Man's going to win in 2 rounds, but then the third round, I'm going to go down. Like they've scripted this like days in advance and stuff. So I liked all those scenes. It was fun. Like you talked about, the mask really worked there. I thought the audience had a fun aspect. I like seeing just certain things with the characters. They did a classic Spider-Man where, oh, $300. Oh, he didn't bleed enough. But the sequence at the end, man, that was one where same thing when we went back to get the money and it was gonna be a longer sequence. Like, oh, do we need this? Like, I enjoy this, but do we need this? One, he sets up this guy who he's supposed to lose to, just roundhouse kicks him, knocks him the fuck out. And I love the shooting of the crowd, Copley, like everything. And then you just proceed to get other opponents, especially that big fucking guy, barbed wire baseball bat. I love that whole thing, and that's where he like quadrupled the money for the Outcast people. But that was another thing where like, oh, do we need to go back here? Does it need to be this long? And absolutely, I thought they did a fantastic job. I enjoyed all the aspects of it being the Monkey Man,
Mm-hmm.
how it worked, that the just kind of gross vibe, but he has to make the money. He's just getting beat to shit. I think they could have made him a little more bruised throughout the days
Yeah,
after.
he heals pretty quick.
Yeah, especially as like a waiter, right? It's
Yeah.
fine when he's a dishwasher, but when he's a waiter, they cut to him bleeding like from the nose, and the next day or next night, he's completely fine. But that's just a little nitpick. So
No, exactly. Yeah, I loved all of that stuff. That was something in the trailers I was looking forward to seeing, and I think it was even better than I was expecting it to be. Just like how hard it was, like when they're just beating like we don't see his face because the mask, but like those punches just going through, and then you have blood coming through like the mask nose. It's just it's just disgusting. And even
yeah,
in the beginning when he does that first fight and walks off, I think that's when you have the credit like Monkey Man show up, the title card there, and he's just like goes to the bathroom. He's all like adrenaline up, beaten to shit. He's like bleeding in the sink. He like fishes out like a blood clot or something out of his mouth. It was just yeah, so graphic. I feel like there's so much stuff like this in this movie. I went and saw this with my dad. I was originally gonna go see it with my dad and my mom, and I'm so glad my mom bowed out because she would not have liked this at all. She
no,
just like the hard violence I think would have been too much for her. But we had a good time for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, all the Monkey Man stuff was fantastic, and I was really pumped to see that dude in there. I feel like I've seen him in a handful of things, and he's always good in everything I've seen him in. First one was District 9. I guess that would have been the
Yeah.
first project that I had seen him in. So he was really fun in this, of just being this like greaseball character, really really slimy and just ripping people off, and just really like I don't know, feeding the crowd too with his charisma was good. So yeah,
Yeah,
I liked
he
all
was
that stuff.
all that stuff. He was like perfect cast. That role was
Hmm.
fantastic.
And what you said, like when he takes the money from the outcast people and quadruples it and gives it back to them. Like, I'm so glad we went back to the the ring there, because it was just a really cool setting to have, and to not go back to it I think would have been a shame. And to have him back in there, just fucking like Super Saiyan level at this point. Like, he's just at his peak,
Oh yeah, not
kicking
holding
everyone's
back
ass.
at all. Yeah,
You get the one tall guy from like Outlast Trials in there. Definitely that vibe.
Big
He
guy,
was
yeah.
super hairy as well, and
Yeah.
like just with his bat smacking you. But yeah, all of that was just fantastic. I like how the crowd transitioned from hating him to just loving him, and they're just totally eating it up. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, is there any aspect? Oh, the friend, I had his name
Alfonso.
there. Alfonso. Yeah. So I liked him, but I felt that it sounds mean, but they probably should just kill him in the club when everything went to shit. Because it was odd where we don't get Dev Patel's lying to him in a sense, right? As far as the Monkey Man, he's just saying, I want to make money. And that's Alfonso I want to make money. I don't get the general sense that Alfonso is like a good guy. He's in the wrong business. They make fun of him, but like that's just being made fun of. I just don't think they showed enough of him being like, oh, I'm, just got roped in this, but at heart I'm a good guy. So when everything goes to shit, and I did like the joke with Nicki Minaj in the vehicle, the little, two-seat or whatever.
The tuck tuck.
Yeah, the tuck, some good visuals there. But when all goes to shit and Monkey Man jumps in that and is using to escape, and Alfonso's like, get me. Why? I didn't understand why he would
that's a good
want
observation.
to be included, because I know some people might go, oh, well, he got him in there, people go time to it, but like you could easily say, like, hey, I had no idea. And he does go into hiding, so maybe that's just it, right, where he was just that worried. But I felt it was a strange thing for that character just to jump to, like, I'm gonna jump in the car that's being shot at, that the cops being chased after. Even if you're gonna run away, even if you feel shit, they're gonna tie me to this kid, I'm just gonna run. To jump in the car I felt was very risky. And then the rest of the movie, he's just kind of popping in and out here. Like, I just felt like he probably, I don't think the actor is bad, it was fun, but he could have just died. He ends up just somehow getting back to the Monkey Man fight, like kind of by coincidence. He sees the post, he's like, oh, the Monkey Man's back. So I felt like that was somebody we could have lost along the way, and it wouldn't have felt too bad. Like, maybe that could have been a nice moment, I don't know. So yeah, I didn't need him, where that was the opposite of the Lady Kita. I thought that was like a perfect use. She was in there the right amount. Everywhere she appeared made sense. When she turned made sense. I feel like Alfonso, they kind of just eventually were like, I don't know what to do with this character, So maybe they could have lost him, but.
Yeah, that's fair, because when he picks him up, I was definitely confused as well. Part of me thought he was actually going to just get killed in that ride. Like, I thought he was going to get shot from a bullet, and that was just going to be that, because I didn't really think we were going to have a lot of use for him, and we really didn't. I somewhat liked how he went, like, from his perspective, kind of like sees the Monkey Man and then like realizes that maybe that's, his old buddy, like, back in action. Then he goes and watch him just kick ass. Like, I did like that sequence, I guess, but other than that, it was pretty unnecessary for him to, like, especially it's a high-paced scene. Like, he's getting shot at, and he just stops the car. It's like, get in, Alfonso. Like, let's go.
Yeah. And I didn't feel like they were close enough either. I felt like Dev Patel wouldn't want to kill this guy, but I didn't feel like, like, if it was the dog, I'd understand. I loved all that with the dog. That was great. Of two for one, he has this connection. He keeps feeding the dog. They have nice moments, but then he does it in a way to teach the dog, so the dog will come back with the gun. Like, I thought that was very clever. But yeah, I didn't, if I needed him to jump, or if they wanted him to jump in the car, I think I need a little bit more of them being closer. Instead, they just feel like acquaintances who were just using each other for money, right? Dev Patel needed a job, and then Dev Patel was giving Alfonso's giving him a job, and then Dev Patel's giving him money by telling him the end of the result of the match, right? Like, he's cheating in a sense. So that's where it's like, okay, so maybe there was more that they decided to cut out, but I think they could have just killed him, and that would have been fine, but.
Yeah. I just remember too, Dev's character does have a name throughout it. It's Bobby. Isn't
it's
that
Bobby,
his, like, waiter
right?
name?
Yeah, because I remember.
So I guess that's a fake name.
I think I can't remember hearing like Bobby. Like, that's such an odd name. But again, yeah, like you said, it's a fake name, so not his real name. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because when Alfonso sees him in the restaurant, that was something I was a little bit confused on. He's like calls his name, and he goes up to him. He's like, I know you from somewhere. And I was like trying to think of where they had seen each other before, but I don't know if that was actually something that they'd seen each other. I don't know if he had gone to those fights before. It didn't seem like it, because I thought that Dev's character had told him the address of like where to go initially. So
yeah,
I was a little bit confused there. Maybe it was just a like a nothing thing. He just thought he knew him but didn't. But I was a little bit confused in that moment.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't, because it's like when he is when he's fighting, he's the monkey man, right? So it's not like he
Yeah.
saw his face. So yeah, I was a little confused by that too. If he was trying to, if that was going to tie in later, like, oh, I do know you from this, but it didn't really come back. Man, he just has a recognizable face, one of those type of faces. So
Exactly.
let's see. We touched upon the boxing, touched upon some of the ending. I don't think I have anything else than just like general praise of like cinematography, great shots, scores, like all those boxes that you want in a movie. They're all there. Dev Patel, the whole, like, that's the thing. Dev Patel, there's not a single scene in here where he's like anywhere close to being bad or like mediocre. Like
Yeah.
you fully buy in this character. I'm not saying I need a sequel, but it is like, it's a different way of it. Keanu Reeves, where it's like, oh, you watch Keanu because he's that type of caricature and stuff. Dev Patel's like, okay, if you did tell me if there's a Monkey Man 2, I wouldn't be that mad, because just what he brings this character. Even when he had that PTSD when he just leaves the restaurant, so many times that can be cheesy, or we've seen before, there's nothing there, but I just felt he did it in such a good way. The build up, I was worried he was gonna fucking clock Rana right there when he was seeing Rana like put his hands down her leg stuff. I was like, fuck, man, like it's over, he's gonna snap right here. And that's a good job where it's not just, oh, Dev Patel put on a mean face. Like, he sold me. Usually I'm like, okay, so where this is going. He sold me on, oh fuck, he's gonna put it down a glass and he's gonna smack with him, and he didn't. He got out of there. So I can't say good enough things about Dev Patel and some of the other aspects, but yeah, Dev Patel definitely shined throughout the whole time. So
No, 100%. A couple things I would shout out is Rana's actual death when Dev is just beating the shit out of him with like that that high heel.
yeah,
Just so gruesome. He's like gasping for air, begging for for just mercy, and he just keeps like beating his head until he just stops, and then just like a pool of blood goes out. Very very gruesome. Maybe what he deserved. I don't know. You be the judge of that. But I also love the.
you be the judge of it. Why don't you think? Why don't you think? What case did you make him not deserving it?
I don't know. I don't know where I
was
was
just
going
following orders.
It's a gruesome way to
deserved
go,
it.
nonetheless.
He deserved it. He's probably done some other bad stuff too that we don't even know about, right?
100%.
So,
Yeah. You don't trust that mustache. I love the little like drum player at the Outcast. Little
yeah, he
shelter
was
thing.
great. Yeah.
Especially like pairing it up with like when he was just punching the heavy bag. I liked all those moments.
Oh, when the heavy bag broke, that was cool. Just a little thing, but that was cool.
Yeah.
He's just punching and the rice is going everywhere. It's like, oh, this is badass. Great stuff.
I liked it too because it's not like he just like his first training session, he just like knocks the bag off. It's like, oh, what a badass! Like he really,
stepping,
it feels like he's building up his strength and getting cleaner with his strikes, and eventually just gets to the point that breaks it. Like it feels deserved when he actually destroys the bag. Another shout out I'd give is when Dev is. I can't remember where it is actually. It's either when he's running away or something along the lines. But he comes into like that actual brothel where people are just totally deep
just
penetration
going at it,
and just everyone's just totally full penetration.
Don't matter if there's gunshots going off. That
No.
man paid $50 to get his rocks off, and he's gonna come then leave, man.
Nobody stops for any of
No.
the action, just
I
going
loved it.
going at. But I love it when he gets like face to face this one guy with an axe, and the one guy's like, "You wanna fuck, motherfucker?"
I loved it. Like, have you ever seen the Crank movies?
Oh yeah.
That's what that
totally.
sequence reminded me
100%,
of.
yeah.
Just this random. I'm gonna assume he's like the manager of the brothel. He pulls out this axe. Love it too. Like his second or third swing, he goes to swing, misses Dev Patel, and hits like one of his employees or like a
right in
brothel.
the neck.
Yeah, like
Oh my
it's
gosh.
over for that guy. No, I enjoyed that as well, because it's like, oh, like, is he just gonna pull an axe on this guy? But the actor and the scene sold enough. Are like, okay, this guy's fucking crazy enough. He just would. So yeah, I enjoyed that whole sequence, because that's where it reminded me of the movie. At that point is very serious. I think there's at times where they make like little jokes here and there, or there are sequences like this, and this was the biggest one. But they all work still. It didn't take me out of it, because I also like Dev Patel just being the whole time. It's like he's about to try and explain what's happening, but it's just way too late because the guy's already throwing an axe at him. He's like, no, like, but he has to defend for his life, and then he gets that kid out of there. I appreciate that. So
Yep. No, that's true. What else? I think that was it. There might have been another fight scene I was gonna shout out, but I didn't write it down, so I don't remember.
Yeah, it's one of those that I'm excited. Hopefully, well, we'll definitely. I imagine I don't know where we'll be, but I think we'll talk about Golden Geeks because yeah,
Oh yeah.
if they don't watch it, one of us will recommend it. But it's
Score
one that
alone, I think, is what I would pitch for
and
this one.
Dev for me too. Those two
Oh yeah.
together, like those for sure are like Score and Dev are the two that I'd be gunning for. But yeah, I'm excited to watch this again. I'm excited to show Emma because she wasn't with me, so I had. I didn't even get into it. I had a fucking guy. Kirkland knows the story. I was in the back row, bunch of middle seats, still two guys buy tickets right beside me. It's like fuck off. I will say too, during the dreams sequence, some guy was out and he was snoring like a motherfucker. He was the action guy that was like not there for the A24 indie
That's
stuff.
so funny.
He was out cold. And then he woke up. When I got up, I looked. He's one of those fuckers. He had sandals on, but took his sandals off, and they're just like he was just sitting there barefoot. Like I know
Oh
it's
yeah,
not any
that's
different. It's
weird.
like he was a whole character, but yeah, he was going at it. But
What time was your showing?
7.
Oh, okay.
Like by the time we get to the
2 hour
true sequence,
movie.
it's 8 p.m. though. It's
Yeah.
like he must have had a long day. I guess we've all been there, but I think it was just because it does slow down that middle sequence, right? It's
Yeah.
like they get there, or like he gets shot. They find him in the water, which again, those were cool visuals too of just like the dirty, gross like river or lake he's in. It's just like
Mhm.
it's not just this pristine water. It's like he's shot and he's in this water that's probably going to affect this wound, but it's a long sequence from when he gets shot to going back to being the monkey man in boxing. Like it's a good, I'd say probably 20 minutes. So I can see that's where somebody I guarantee you might be like, oh, I checked out of it. And that's why I said I don't know if I need that to be shorter. I did think about that at the moment, but I want to wait on a rewatch. And yeah, I don't have any other notes. My final thoughts is great. Oh, sorry, you got something?
I was just gonna shout out because you said one guy was crashing. My dad was definitely close at a couple times. I could tell he starts breathing a little bit heavier and like and then he like kind of catches himself. He was asking
Yeah.
for the popcorn at that point,
Oh,
to
yeah.
kind of wake yourself up. I've been there. You get all the tricks, but reminded me of the scene when Dev gets like arrested and then he takes out the cops and like jumps out the
Yeah.
back of the vehicle onto like that truck there. In that moment, my dad was just like. Can you imagine? Like you just said that audibly, and it was so funny. I was like, yeah, that'd be shocking. Just like from the perspective of the truck guy, but
No, Dad, I
it was
couldn't imagine
hilarious.
any of this. I couldn't imagine being arrested by the cops. Couldn't imagine me running, but it's good
It
to
was a
know.
funny
So,
little ad lib thing that he
yeah,
had. It
that's
reminded me
good.
too. Went and saw Kung Fu Panda 4 with my sister and her kids, and man, my niece and nephew were 100% engaged in that movie. They were so like
Yeah.
just completely locked, like not saying anything at random times. Like my niece would just turn to me and just like say something like
Out loud.
so loud,
Yeah.
so loud,
They have
like
no barometer for it.
that
You
was in
tell
the
'em
trailers,
Yeah.
and like just laughed so hard, like or like repeated a line and just said it like so loud to me. I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can tell them you gotta be quiet in this situation. They don't care. It's all out the window.
I'm not used to seeing it with kids, but it was a fun time.
Yeah.
Not for Monkey Man. Don't bring your kids to Monkey Man.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to, let us know how that experience goes. But yeah, it wouldn't be my first choice. But yeah, no, I don't have any more thoughts. It was great. I think where I am right now is at a 9.5. It's tough because there was times where I was at a 10. And I still feel like I'd be like a 10. This is definitely one where I'm at the barometer of it's somewhere from a 9 to a 10. I don't think it's ever going to go lower than a 9 unless for some reason I rewatch and a bunch of people brought up, oh, this doesn't make sense. But like for me, just the craftsmanship, especially with what they have to do, is very impressive. So this is one where, like I said, there's times where, okay, I thought, oh, this could have been trimmed or this character, but I'll see on a rewatch if that matters less or things work more for me, or if it's the latter of, okay, yeah, this really didn't go and I'm happy about 9.5 or couldn't go to a 9, but it's definitely for me no lower than a 9. It's bordering on a 10 just for like the craftsmanship. That's all 10 stuff. Like again, it's not like Dune where it's like, oh man, look at how the the spectacle of it, but it's just like what they have to do with what they have. It's very impressive. There's times where it just looks very, very good for what they're doing with it. So yeah, that's where I am, a 9.5. I have a little those issues where I think you could trim a little stuff. There's a few character choices. There's a few, convenient things as far as, like I said, villains sticking around when sometimes the movie's in the real world, but still, very high. But yeah, that's where I would be, 9.5 right now. Maybe a 10. We'll revisit back Golden Geeks. So I'll definitely be seeing this again, if not in theaters, at home, because I really, really enjoyed it. It's was fantastic film, and I'm very happy, and I just cannot wait to see what Dev Patel does next. So, Mr.
Yeah.
Patzer.
Yeah, I was bordering between like I don't know, 9.5, 8.75, like in that
Hmm.
range. So I think I'll go like 9 right now, just a
Yeah.
nice hard solid 9. I am curious how I feel on a second watch because the first viewing, especially in a movie like this, that like the story's kind of being revealed as it's going along, or his motivation for the revenge. You're kind of piecing it together, but obviously knowing the film, like going into it, will I personally think will change a lot of just how I look at it. So I am
Hmm.
curious if it. I don't think it'll go down by any means because I just truly loved it, and the things that might be minor cons are so minor that they really don't bring down the enjoyment of the film. But some shaky cam things in there. So not a perfect 10, but yeah, I really really love this. I'm really glad I saw it, and yeah, it was fun breaking it down.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you thought if you've seen it. Like I said, we'll probably be at least talking about it somewhat come next January, February, which sounds weird to say in March or April, but that's how it works here in GeekVerse land. But yeah, we'll be back next week. Some news, some X-Men, Civil War, lots of good stuff. I promise you, not be boring.